So I have a little bit of a secret. So even though I run the SketchUp channel, even though I model in SketchUp all the time, I still constantly avoid modeling things that I don't know how to model. So this is a great example. So for a long time, I avoided modeling things like the model on the left because I didn't know how to add the recesses in the base of this railing. I'd go with something on the right and then I'd say, you know, it's no big deal. You know, they look pretty much the same when you zoom out, but that doesn't really help you with your modeling skills. So I had to go learn how to model this, and now I'm going to show you how. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. So recesses like this are actually pretty common for adding things like screws and bolts and other things like that. And so the first thing you want to do whenever you're dealing with something like this is you want to look at the footprint of this shape. Right? So basically, if you're modeling anything in the real world, like for example, I'm looking at this base plate right here from a Home Depot installation video. If you look at this, what you want to do is you want to look at the footprint of the shape that's being created in here. Because basically what they've done is they've removed material up so that you have space to put these lag bolts in. And just real quick, what I've done here for reference is I've just drawn a 4x4 rectangle like this. I've drawn arcs around the corners like this, and you want to find the purple tangent because that means this is going to be completely even around that corner. So I just want to find the center of my space, and then I'm just going to use the rotate tool in copy mode. So rotate and then tap the control key in order to go into copy mode, and then I'm just going to type in ×3 and hit the enter key, and I can remove out this extra material like this. We'll push pull this up to this size, and then I'm going to tap control to go into create new face mode, click again on this surface right here, and then I'm just going to select this surface and scale it in to whatever size that I want. So that's how I created this shape. But now what we want to do, and I'm going to move this out of the way just so it's not distracting, is we just want to draw the footprint of the shape. So I'm going to use the move tool in copy mode and copy this up, and I'm going to copy this up as well. So I've basically got the two curves that are in here. This is basically giving me the profile of this surface right here, right? So I've drawn a line in here. Now I have a profile of the surface if it was flat, plus or minus. And so what I want to do in this particular situation is I want to have an arc in here that's going to remove material. So in this case, I'm just going to pick maybe the midpoint and the midpoint right here. And I'm just going to draw an arc that would align with kind of the back right here, or pretty close. And then I'm just going to erase out this extra material like this. So now I'm able to use this as a shape that I can use in order to remove material. And I'm going to triple click in here and I'm going to make this a group. That's going to be important in a minute. And notice how right now, when I did that, my group is only showing up as a group. Well, we want it to show up as a solid. So a solid is basically a shape that's a shell with nothing on the inside. Well, in this case, when we use that push-pull tool in order to push-pull this up, it created an extra surface in here, which I'm going to delete out. So now, if I do an edit, unhide, all, and I select this, notice how this shows up as a solid group. Well, now I want to take this shape and I want to push-pull it down right here. So now that aligns with my object right here. And I'm just going to triple-click, make it a group, and notice how that one is also a solid group. Well, because they're both solids, we can use the extension Solid Tools in SketchUp Pro. And what this allows us to do is this allows us to use one shape to remove material from another. So in this situation, I want to activate the tool for Subtract. That's going to subtract the first solid that we select from the second. So now I'm going to click in here, I'm going to select this solid right here, and then this solid right here. Well, notice what that does is that comes in here and that removes the material from our surface. So now we've got the space in here to do whatever we want. And so you could do a lot of different things with this. Like for example, let's say you wanted this to get bigger on the top, you could double click into your shape and have it move kind of backwards like this. So in this case, I'm actually going to scale it back this way, but notice how that's adjusting my shape right here. Well, then we could do the same thing with Solid Tools, where we would remove this material from this material. Notice how we get a different recess depending on the dimensions of that shape that we've created. But in this case, I'm just going to select this. I'm just going to use the rotate tool in copy mode in order to create 3 copies. And then we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to activate solid tools. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so then from there, it's just as simple as drawing in your holes and then push-pulling them through because these surfaces are flat. All right, so I would definitely recommend learning more about solid tools. So I'm going to link to 2 videos on this page. One about how to use all the tools in solid tools, and another one about how to cut a bunch of holes in one object using solid tools quickly. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.